In this video, I'm going to talk about how religion is a stepping stone to true spirituality. A lot of people in the spiritual community find themselves going against religion itself, right? They find themselves rebelling against the religion, right? Or you find other people outside the spiritual community, especially maybe if you're atheist or agnostic, they find themselves fighting against religion, right? But just like everything in life, just like everything in this world, everything serves a purpose, right? And the soul knows that, the spirit knows that, right? Religion has its meaning. There's a reason why religion exists, right? At this current time, right? Humanity is The whole of humanity is not yet ready to step outside religion, although there is a slow process currently going on, has been going on for many years, of us stepping towards a new type of spirituality. I wouldn't say new. I'll say uh, something that we're discovering that is more closer to what the divine is, right? Which I call true spirituality, right? But video is just to say that religion itself serves its purpose, right? There is a purpose for religion. There has been a purpose for religion for thousands of years, right? Like I said, humanity was not ready to experience or to to discover a form of spirituality that is more conducive to the soul, right? Religion itself is there as a structure for humanity, right? Human beings feel more safer when there is structure, right? And so when when we are when humanity is trying to define spirit, trying to define soul, trying to define spirituality, it creates a structure, and that structure that we created is religion. Like it or not, that is what we have done, right? I'm trying to picture this in a neutral way. So that is what we have done, right? Humanity feels safe when there is structure. We have always felt safe when there is structure, right? Because true spirituality has no structure. True spirituality um, has no structure. New Age spirituality in itself is kind of like religion. I'll make a video on that later on, but it's kind of like religion, right? New Age spirituality has a structure, right? Has its rituals, own has its rituals, has its own how should I say this? Uh has its own rules to it, right? Um just like religion. Religion has its own rituals, just like it has its own prayers, meditations, just like New Age spirituality, right? But religion was there for us to understand spirituality in a structured environment, in a structured form, right? Which helped us understand, have a certain understanding of soul, have a certain understanding of spirit, right? It gave us a map, a physical map of what spirituality is. It gave us a physical map of what God is, right? And again, I mentioned God, right? God is formless, right? And humanity had a hard time, and it still continues to have a hard time to define what God is, to define who is God, right? And in religion, it's something outside of us, which is something that we can only experience through religion itself, through structure itself, to build structures to touch to have some feeling of what God is, right? That's what religion is there for, right? And so you could view this as in a way that religion is kind of like the training wheels of the bike, right? You could view the bike as being us being uh confident in driving our own spirituality, right? But the training wheels is the religion itself, right? There to steady our fall, right? To steady the bike itself, right? To guide the bike in a certain way, right? And then until we're ready, we could take off those training wheels, right? As individuals, right? Most of us, I mean, I used to be a I was baptized as a Roman Catholic, right? I was baptized as a Roman Catholic, and when I was younger, I was practicing Catholicism, right? Although I didn't know what a lot of things meant, right? I still did the rituals, I still did the prayers, I still understood what the devotion to God is, even though I viewed it outside of me, I I understood what that meant, and I experienced that on a certain level, which made me understand today at this moment, stepping outside of Roman Catholicism, it made me understand what God is. It made me understand that God isn't outside of us; it's inside of us, right? And sometimes I think to myself, if I wasn't practicing Catholicism, how would my spirituality be shaped? Right? Maybe it would be shaped in a different way, right? But religion helped me understand what God is, even though it was outside of me. I still had this understanding of what God is until I stepped out of religion. Then I understood it's an internal thing, more of an internal thing, right? So religion gave us structure. Religion gives us structure. Gave me structure, right? Religion gave me structure, right? The Roman Catholic Church gave me structure. Churches give you structure. Temples give you structure. Mosque gives you structure, right? Or wherever you practice your religion, it gives you some type of structure to your spirituality. And so I cannot be here and hate on religion itself. I cannot um complain about religion, right? I can't throw religion under the bus because I know what that means, right? I cannot disrespect other people's religions, right? I can only respect it because I understand what it meant for me, right? It was a stepping stone to where I am right now, understanding what true spirituality is, right? Under it helped me understood what spirit is, helped me understood what soul is, helped me understand what surrendering is, helped me understand what devotion to God is, even though it was outside of me. Now I learned what devotion to God is outside of me. Now I know how it is to be devoted to myself. Now that I know that God is within me, I can understand that I could be devoted to myself instead of God outside of me. I was prepared for that through religion. And so humanity as a microcosm is going through that, right? I'm going to say it's going to take time, but there can be certain things that happen in the future that can accelerate the process of us moving towards true spirituality. But at this time, humanity is still stuck in that structure. It still has to be stuck in that structure. There is a purpose for that. There is a purpose for that. Like everything in life, there is a purpose, right? We're not we're not prepared to step outside of that yet, right? We still have certain fears that we have to get over as humanity before we could step outside of um, religion, the structure of religion itself, because it is a structure. It's still practicing your spirituality, but in a structured way. Thank you for watching this video.